Ooh, Ronald Maynard had a problem. Oh, Ronald found the Jolie cow. Nice work, Ronald. Danny Passmore obviously went a little wide there. Miguel de Souza off track. Jim Wardlow, Channing Vickery, and Warren Moore completing their laps here. Folks, don't forget, take a moment, hit that like, follow, subscribe. Most importantly, hit that share button. Invite your friends and family. Daytona may be canceled, or postponed till tomorrow, but you can still get your racing fix in today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. It's time to go racing. Jason Shermont and Eric Schollard have the front row. Kenny Passmore, Barry French have the second. Mike Zakar and Ronald Maynard on the third row. Larry Tittle, Mark Bruning on the fourth. Mark Nelson and Danny Passmore rounding out your top 10. Bruce Corey and Manuel de Souza, 11th and 12th. That puts the rookies starting nose to tail in 9th and 11th. Darrell Klotz starting in 13th. Kevin Bruner in 14th. Don Anderson starting in 15th. Gregory Marks in 16th. Jeff Oakes 17th. And James Little in 18th. Warren Moore in 19th. And Channing Victory starts in 20th. Bill Hornback, 21st. Andrew Forrester, 22nd. Jim Wardlow, 23rd. Steve Kubay, 24th. And Michael Lamance rounds out the 25-car field here at VIR. Drivers taking to the grid. Steve Kubay just barely making it in his Aston. He did not get a lap in practice or qualifying. Jason Shermont's the points leader, looking to restart the winning streak here today, as the pace car rolls off pit road to take them around for their pace lap. 3.27 miles around Virginia International Raceway. Track temperature now down to 90 degrees. When they practiced, the track was 103 degrees. The temperature has come down dramatically. It's going to make a huge difference in the amount of grip these drivers have this morning. As always, if you have a favorite driver in the field, make sure you hit that, or drop in the comments, let us know who you're cheering for. Also, make sure you hit that like, follow, subscribe. Most importantly, hit that share button. Invite your friends and family out. Hitting all those buttons really helps us out, helps these leagues out, and helps your favorite driver out. Did you know hitting that share button gives your favorite driver an extra 5 horsepower? Yep. That 5 extra horsepower could be huge here today. Points leader starting on the front row. Second in points, Mike Zakar, starting back in the third row. Mark Bruning, who's third in points, starting back in 8th. Fourth in points, Ronald Maynard, fourth in points, Barry French starts 4th on track. 5th in points, Ronald Maynard starts back in 6th. VIR is a tricky and challenging track in any car, but you bring these GT4s out here where in a fixed setup, all these drivers are running that fixed baseline setup, so they have got to fight the car. They cannot tune it to how they want it. They get what they get. Down the hill toward pit road entry, these drivers will have to make a fuel stop during this race. Likely to see some tire changes this morning. Pace car heads to pit road. Jason Shermont leads them down the front straightaway. And green flag is in the air. They are down and away at Virginia International Raceway. Will we see a chaotic turn 1? This is a tricky track and a tricky entry into turn 1. Yes, we've got chaos mid-pack. One of the rookies involved. Kevin Brewer is involved. Jim Wardlow. Steve Kubay. Michael Lemansk. A large portion of the back half of the field gets caught up in this one. Jason Shermont's meanwhile running away at the moment as everybody tries to settle out back behind. Let's take a look and see what happened. There's Jeff Oakes. Headed down into turn 1. It looks like there was a stack up ahead. See what the blimp saw here. Bruce Corey, one of the rookies there on the inside, right behind the Mark Nelson. Oh, Mark Nelson tried to check up. Bruce Corey checked up the inside line. Just stacked up going into 1. Warren Moore back behind all of this chaos. Some of these cars actually were able to come to a stop. managing to get through undamaged, but that separated the pack into two. Jason Shermont's out front ahead of Scollard by 1.3 seconds. Kenny Passmore to third. Ronald Maynard fourth. Mark Bruning now up into fifth. James Little made it through all of that chaos. He picks up 6 spots into 12th. Bill Hornback picks up 6 spots as well. He is up to 15th. Jim Wardlow, who managed to get that car woed up. And, oh! We've got a car spinning off track. I believe that was Barry French, and Stephen Coubet also had a problem. There's Coubet as they head down toward turn 1. Remember, Coubet got no practice. Off into 1, just snaps loose on him. Barry French, one of the top 5 in points. Just, oh, rally crosses it. And Gregory Marks there in the Mercedes coming into the first set of S's just gets in the grass and a hard hit. And Bill Hornback may have had a problem a moment ago. There's Hornback in the Interstate Batteries Porsche coming out of the final turn, just gets loose. Turns it up the hill, but gets it turned back around and going again. Gregory Marks has gone to pit road after getting the wall there. Jason Shermont still holds the lead after the shakeup on lap 1. Let's run through the field right quick, see where your favorite drivers are. Jason Shermont's the points leader out front. Eric Scollard currently runs in second. Kenny Passmore holds on to third. Ronald Maynard now up into fourth. Mark Bruning up 3 spots into fifth. Mike Zakar currently holds on to 6th place with Barry French after his issue through the grass. Back to 7th. Danny Passmore up 2 spots now into 8th. Larry Tittle back to 9th. And Manuel de Souza up to 10th. The Mark Nelson getting caught up in that incident in turn 1. Now back in 11th. Jeff Oakes currently running in 12th. James Little now up 5 spots into 13th. Don Anderson in 14th. Channing Vickery up 5 spots now into 15th. Daryl Klotz has drifted back into 16th. Steve Coubet, despite his earlier incident off track, has picked up 7 spots now into 17th. Jim Wardlow currently running in 18th. Michael Lemansk up 6 spots into 19th. Kevin Bruner has drifted way back, got caught up in that first incident. He is back in 20th. The rookie Bruce Corey back in 21st. Warren Moore 22nd. Bill Hornback in 23rd. Andrew Forrester has had a couple of problems now. He is in 24th, and Gregory Marks now all the way back in 25th. Let's take a look at a series of unfortunate events for Andrew Forrester. Forrester at the top of the hill, that right-hander just a bit wide, gets it back out on track. Then a few moments later has another incident. Looks like turn one just overshoots that turn. Gets it back out on track and coming back up the hill, just shoots it wide there. Second time we have seen somebody go through that area. Did mention at pre-race, VIR is a very, very tricky, very technical track. Andrew Forrester has had another problem and is going to pit road. Here is Forrester. Overshoots that turn yet again. Ended up towing it to pit road. Remember, this league does have an incident point limit, so at 10 incident points, they do have to go to pit road. They have to serve a drive-through, and at 20, it's a DQ. Where are our rookies right now? Mark Nelson currently in 11th after starting in 9th. Bruce Corey is back. Corey has had a problem and gone off track and towed to pit road. Let's see what happened to him. Oh, gets a run to the inside on Taz, but Porsche just gets loose. Gets a love tap from Taz. There was obvious contact there. Wardlow nowhere to go after that bump, and oh, he comes across. A rough start to this race for several drivers. Jason Shermont's not struggling at all, though. Hey, good morning, Andrew. Good morning, Juan Carlos. Good morning, Mark the Man Dantuma. Hope everybody is having a great morning. Make sure you drop in the comments. Let us know who you're cheering for or how your day is going. Or just say hi. Shermont's his lead now, 2.5 seconds. Kenny Passmore now to third. Ronald Maynard in fourth and Mark Bruning in fifth. Mike Zakar in sixth and Barry French in seventh. All of the top 5 in points currently in the top 10 on track. CR Reed does not appear to be here today. One of the CR came in today 6th in points. Kevin Bruner, who is 7th in points, is way back in 18th after being caught up in that early incident. Gregory Marks, who we saw get the wall hard earlier, has that Mercedes back out on track. Channing Vickery is on his way down pit road. He had a couple of problems a moment ago. See if we can see what happened to Channing. There's Channing Vickery coming down the hill into the left-hander. Down at the bottom, just goes way wide. Way wide. Gets it gathered back up. Then a little bit further into the next lap and just overshoots coming into the S's. And then a few seconds later, as he comes up the hill into that horseshoe turn, we have seen so many drivers go off through that turn already this morning. Meanwhile, out front, Jason Shermont continues to extend his lead over Eric Scollard. But from third on back, we've got quite a battle heating up, and they are in lap traffic. Kenny Passmore, Ronald Maynard, Mark Bruning, Mike Zakar back in 6th, also closing in. Barry French in 7th, also reeling him in. He was about 3.5 seconds back. But Kenny Passmore, Ronald Maynard nose to tail. Mark Bruning just behind in 5th. And Mike Zakar just behind in 6th. Mark Nelson, one of the rookies here this morning, now back up into 10th. Jeff Oakes back in 12th, sitting right on Manuel de Souza's bumper. Jeff already up 5 spots into 12th place, but the guy on the move and the man who did not get a single lap in during practice or qualifying is Steve Kubay. Kubay caught up in an incident early on, is still up 9 spots into 15th. Sitting right on the bumper of Don Anderson. Looks like, oh, that Aston gets a run to the inside. And Kubay now 10 spots into 14th. Kevin Bruner just picked up 17th spot from Warren Moore. Manuel de Souza just had a problem. Manuel headed down, looks like the front straightaway into turn 1. Oh! I think that might have been a little bit of net code. See if the blimp caught that at all. Does look like there may have been some contact there. See from the chopper, which was a little bit lower. Following him down into turn 1. Does look like just a little bit of contact. Meanwhile, Shermont's continuing out front. However, the fastest lap of the morning was just set by Ronald Maynard. Ronald, only the second driver to go under the 154 mark. The first one was Jason Shermont, a 153.92, but Maynard just set a 153.9. Seeing a lot of drivers getting minor off tracks all over the place. This track has some very tight track limits. You have to be extremely careful. Remember, you can get a drive-through penalty. Per Home Motorsports rules, 10 incident points, you will do a drive-through. 20 points, you're going home. Jason Shermont has already put several cars a lap down at the moment. Only 20 cars on the lead lap. Channing Vickery, Gregory Marks, Jim Wardlow, all a lap down. Andrew Forrester and Bruce Corey out of the race early. Bit of a heartbreak for both drivers. Andrew Forrester, one of the top drivers in the league. Bruce Corey, one of the rookies. Ronald Maynard still sitting on the back bumper of Kenny Passmore. And Jason Shermont's just set a new fastest lap, and by quite a bit, 153.79. Over a tenth of a second faster than Maynard just a moment ago. Have to wonder, let's take a look. Track temp now down to 86, so it has dropped 4 degrees since the drop of the green. Mark Bruning sitting right on Mike Zakar's back bumper at the moment. These two have been nose to tail for quite a while. Both drivers in the BMW, so neither has a power, weight, or handling advantage, as it looks like Bill Hornback is going to pit road. Hornback was the last car on the lead lap in 20th. Michael Lemansk now in 19th. Lemansk up 6 spots from where he started. Did not qualify. Continues his march forward. Biggest mover, though, still continues to be Steve Kubay. Up 11 spots now to 13th as he begins to reel in De Souza. Gourmets did not qualify, did not get any practice, was involved in the early incident, and is still fighting his way forward. Gourmets 13 seconds behind De Souza, but closing quickly. Jeff Oakes also on the move, now cracking into the top 10, up 7 spots from starting in 17th. Mike Zakar and Mark Bruning still nose to tail all the way around the track. And Jason Shermott set another fast lap, 153.46, almost a half second faster than Ronald Maynard's fast lap. Shermott's now has a 7.8 second lead over Eric Scollard. He just continues to run away. Kenny Passmore in third, Ronald Maynard in fourth, Mark Bruning in fifth. Kevin Bruner was caught up in that earlier incident, dropped all the way to 20th, is now back up into 17th and trying to reel in James Little in 16th. Little is closing in on Don Anderson, who currently sits in 15th. Darrell Claw's about 10 seconds ahead in 14th. The Mark Nelson is closing, the other rookie in the field this morning is closing the gap on Jeff Oakes. Now about 1.7 seconds behind Oakes. Oakes, meanwhile, trying to reel in ninth place Larry Tittle. Danny Passmore currently sitting in 8th. Just looking at the numbers, Passmore is reeling in everybody ahead of him except for the leader, Jason Shermott. Shermott, meanwhile, has gone off to another dimension. His lead now 8.5 seconds over Scollard. Shermott's on average gaining just over half a second a lap. Shermott's had a little problem with lap traffic there. This is Shermott's 6th race of the season this morning. In his 5 previous races, 4 wins. Bill Hornback has had a problem. There's Hornback coming up the hill. We have seen so many drivers struggle here. Oh, Hornback just goes wide to let some of the leaders get by. Michael Lemansk is on pit road. Looks like this may have been a drive-through penalty. Given that early incident that collected so many drivers, we are likely to see some more drive-through penalties than we usually do. Shermont's now going around another lap car. Looks like that was Wardlow back in 22nd. Channing Vickery is on pit road. They are all within their fuel window here. Looks like Don Anderson has completed his fuel stop. And this was a drive-through for Vickery as James Little starts rolling down pit road. Little is in for his stop. And the leader is in. Jason Shermont has hit pit road. And here comes second place scholar Kenny Passmore in third, Ronald Maynard in fourth. Mark Bruning choosing to stay out. He will take the lead. Danny Passmore also staying out. He will claim second as Larry Tittle, Barry French. Everybody is on pit road, or a lot of them. Most of the top 10 is out, or is on pit road. Jeff Oakes and Mark Nelson stay out. Steve Coubet also stays out for the moment, moving Coubet up into 7th. With 25 minutes left to go in the race, everybody cycling through stops here. Gregory Marks now on pit road. Manuel de Souza is in. And is Bruning going to come in? Yes, Mark Bruning is on pit road. Danny Passmore now heads for pit road as well. Jeff Oakes, Mark Nelson not far behind. Jeff Oakes is on pit road. The Mark Nelson is on pit road. Jason Shermont's coming down the hill, will reclaim the lead. Channing Vickery has had a problem again. There's Vickery coming to the top of the hill. Overshoots his braking point, gets the grass. Gets her out of the way, pointed back the right direction, but loses a lot of time. Shermott appears to have lost a little bit of time on pit road. The gap now is just under 5 seconds back to Kenny Passmore. Mark Bruning in third. Eric Schollard in fourth is closing in on Bruning and Passmore. Ronald Maynard in fifth lost some ground as well. He is now 3.8 seconds back and has has Mike Zakar, Barry French right there with him. And it appears the Mark Nelson got a penalty on pit road. He has drifted back to 15th. He is closing the gap on 14th place Don Anderson, but he lost a lot of ground. Meanwhile, the big winner on pit road and pit strategy, Steve Cabay, who is now in 12th. Up 12 spots from where he started, he is closing the gap on De Souza as well. Eric Schollard back and forth is closing the gap on Mark Bruning. And fifth on back is really starting to heat up is Ronald Maynard, Mike Zakar, Barry French. All right there. All within less than 2 seconds. While they battle back behind, Jason Shermott's continuing to open up his lead. Although not as dramatically as we saw in the first half of this race, his lead now only 4.8 seconds over Kenny Passmore. Passmore, for the moment, able to keep fairly close to the pace of Shermott's. Mark Bruning in third, starting to chip away slowly. He's 4 seconds behind Kenny Passmore, but he is starting to chip away little by little. Eric Schollard, though, in fourth is chipping away a lot at Mark Bruning, now just 1.5 seconds back. Don Anderson has had a problem back behind. Anderson coming up to the top of the hill. Overshoots dramatically, gets it recovered quickly. Then a few moments, nope, same incident. He just manages to quickly get it recovered. Jason Shermont's his lead now 5.5 seconds. Ronald Maynard has found another gear. He is now pulling away from Mike Zakar. Barry French, meanwhile, is close within half a second of Zakar at the moment. 5th, 6th, and 7th still just separated by about 2.25 seconds, but right now Maynard is starting to pull away. Larry Tittle back in 9th, meanwhile, is closing the gap on Danny Passmore, now under 3.25 seconds. Mark Nelson, after having that penalty on pit road, has moved to 14th. Darrell Klotz in 13th has caught up to Manuel de Souza in 12th. Jason Shermont's lead now 6.5 seconds over Passmore. Mark Bruning is starting to close back in on Passmore again. Now just 3.5 seconds back. And Scollard is reeling in Bruning. Scollard is in that Mercedes, surprisingly. We know that the Mercedes has a power advantage, but he is making that car handle very well today. Able to close in on the BMW of Bruning. Ronald Maynard, meanwhile, has opened up the gap on Zakar to now 1.8 seconds. Barry French still lurking all over the back bumper of Zakar. Kevin Bruner has drifted all the way back into 16th. Oh, Kevin may be having connection problems. Don Anderson in 15th, and Mark Nelson had a problem a moment ago. Mark coming down toward that first set of S's, just overshoots the turn. Quickly gets it gathered back up. That did allow Don Anderson to close back up, though, just 2 seconds behind the Mark Nelson. Ronald Maynard in 5th has now pulled 2.1 seconds on Zakar. Barry French still lurking, but has been unable to get around the BMW of Zakar. Eric Scollard was closing the gap on Bruning, but now Bruning out ahead by almost 3 seconds. Kenny Passmore still holding on to second place, but Jason Shermont continues to dominate this race. His lead is now 7 seconds. Maybe next week somebody will throw some cinder blocks in the bed of that car. Something to slow it down. Channing Vickery still out on track at 22nd. He has had a rough morning, as has Jim Wardlow and Taz. But still staying in the fight. Gregory Marks also had that early, very hard hit early on, but has stayed in the fight now in 20th. Michael Lemansk up 6 spots now in 19th. One of the drivers that did not qualify. I don't know that he got very much practice either. Warren Moore currently runs in 18th. James Little in 17th. A quiet morning, but both drivers picking up spots here. And Steve Kubay, currently in 11th, had no practice, no qualifying. His first laps on track were after the green flag dropped. Got caught up in that early incident. Has still fought his way up 13 spots into 11th. And is closing the gap on 10th place Jeff Oakes. But he is. Kubay is about 18.5 seconds back. It is unlikely he'll break into the top 10 this morning. Shermott's now has an 8-second lead over Kenny Passmore. Mark Brenning in third has put some more breathing room between him and Scollard. Now 3.25 seconds. Ronald Maynard has closed in on Scollard. Now less than 1.5 seconds. Mike Zakar, Barry French still nose to tail in 6th and 7th place. Danny Passmore back in 8th. Larry Tittle, quiet morning, currently running in 9th. Jeff Oakes in 10th. Jeff has had a good morning as well, already up 7 spots. He is closing in on 9th place, but he is 11 seconds back. Again, unlikely to close that gap. Really surprised to see 2 of the 3 Mercedes out on track. Correction, 2 of the 4 Mercedes on track in the top 10. The Mercedes are known for their power, but they are the worst handling of these GT cars. And this being a technical track that really requires some good handling, Eric Scollard, Jeff Oakes have both made these cars work really well for them this morning. But Jason Shermott's BMW has continued to dominate all morning long. His lead now 7.7 seconds. Kenny Passmore is closing in little by little. 8 minutes left to go. Will he be able to reel him in? Jason Shermont's about to have a little bit of lap traffic, but only looks like one, maybe two cars ahead. Danny Passmore in second, also not going to have a whole lot of lap traffic to contend with. Ronald Maynard now has caught the bumper of Eric Scollard in fourth. Barry French has finally found a way past Zakar, but Zakar is back on the attack. And Zakar goes back to sixth place. Maynard on the bumper of Scollard for the moment. The better handling Aston may be able to use the draft off the Mercedes down the long straight. The Scollard able to use that Mercedes power opens up a 1 second gap. Jeff Oakes has had a problem. There's Jeff coming through the final turns onto the front straightaway. Just a little bit of the grass gets the car off the track quickly. Got just enough of the grass to send that Mercedes around. That did allow Gourmets in 11th to close up quite a bit. He is now less than 6 seconds behind Oakes. Mark Bruning has been slowly but surely chopping away at the lead Kenny Passmore had in second. Can Bruning pull up and possibly take that second place spot? Ronald Maynard caught the back bumper of Eric Scollard in fourth, but has been unable to hang on to it. And Barry French had a problem and lost all that ground on Zakar. There's French right behind Zakar at the far end of the track. French just a little too much power on corner exit. Goes through the grass, gets it back up on track, but man. Seen a lot of battling going on here the last few laps. Everybody trying to get that one last position, and it has cost a few drivers. Shermont still leading with Kenny Passmore in second, Mark Bruning in third, Scollard in fourth, Maynard in fifth. Maynard is starting to close back in on Scollard again. Mike Zakar now has 6. Barry French Lost a lot of ground back into 7th. Danny Passmore in 8th is closing the gap on French. Larry Tittle back in 9th, also closing in on Danny Passmore. Jeff Oakes still holding on to 10th. Jason Shermont's continuing to plug away at this one. His lead now 9.3 seconds over Kenny Passmore. Hey, Kevin. Ron Maynard and Eric Schollard now battling. Oh, holy cow! Maynard trying to make the move on Schollard. Goes through the grass. There is some contact there. Maynard back into the grass. Great save by Maynard. Wow, that got dicey. Meanwhile, Jason Shermont's continuing to extend his lead. Mark Nelson has gone to pit road. Something happened to Mark coming through that final section. Let's see what happened. I have no idea what happened. Was that a drive? Potentially a drive-through penalty for the Mark Nelson. Kenny Passmore still holds on to second, but now 11 seconds behind. Mark Bruning is full sending it. He is less than 2 seconds behind. Schollard still holds fifth, but Maynard is back. Jason Shermont's coming down the hill out of the final turn. And Jason Shermont does it again, his fifth win of the season at VIR. Kenny Passmore coming home in second, and Mark Bruning pulls off third. Jason Shermont, 6 starts, 5 wins this season. I've had the same problem here. And we have Jason Shermott's with us. Your, man, another dominant win. Your 5th win of the season so far. Jason, you got me? Jason, can you hear me?
Doug, you got me now?
Oh, I got you now, buddy. Man, 5th win, 6 starts, 5 wins. That's a pretty dominant season.
Thanks. Appreciate that, Doug. I was pretty disappointed in my result last week. You know, not much you could do about it, just one of those racing deals. But I was determined, to say the least, to come out today and have a good show.
Well, you qualified on the pole and never looked back. And, man, once that chaos hit in that first turn, it was pretty much smooth sailing from there.
We lucked out with lap traffic, and you know, all the guys are pretty strong at this track. The Passmores are fast. Marcellus is always fast. Mike's fast. Barry's fast. I'd be lying if I said I didn't put extra practice in this week.
Well, the extra practice definitely paid off, man. That was a great run. Congratulations on another awesome win.
Appreciate the time, Doug. See you in the next one.
See if we can get a word with second place, Kenny Passmore. Kenny, congratulations on that second place finish, man. That you put up one heck of a fight all day.
Yeah, I can't. I'm so tired I can't hardly talk. But Jason, didn't have anything for him at all. And probably was fortunate to finish second, but haven't got to run that many of these in the GT4, so it was nice to come to VIR. You know, I used to race here for real, so it was, you know, like home to me.
I can imagine it. There were points where you actually started gaining on Jason by quite a bit, and then he would just suddenly set a fast lap.
Yeah, he's just better than I am. You know, that's the bottom line.
Well, man, you still put on one heck of a show. There were points where we thought you might reel him in, but a second place finish, man, nothing to sneeze at. A great morning. Congrats.
Well, thank you, and yeah, I'll take that. That finishing second to him is a good result for me. Thanks.
Great job today. And it does not look like we have Mark Bruning available to interview, but congratulations to him. And thank you guys so much for tuning in this morning. Hope you all had as much fun as we did. Don't forget, 7:30 Eastern tonight, BRR Cup Series is back. We will see you then. Have a great afternoon, everybody.